Randy was he had like a gentle soul. I mean, he was a big guy, and he was always boisterous and all of that, but he had a gentle soul about him. I remember Dad got my brother's BB gun. I was in the backyard and I was playing with my Barbie dolls, and Randy came out and he's got this BB gun and he's shooting at little targets and stuff like that. And he goes, Lynn, watch this. And he shoots up into the tree and just happens to hit a woodpecker. And this thing comes flopping down in the middle of what I'm doing. Of course, I scream, and he threw that BB gun to the side and he scoops up this little bird, and he's just in tears. I mean, he just couldn't believe it. And he's just so sad, and he's talking to it. To my knowledge, Randy never picked up another gun. My dad was a hunter, my older brother was a hunter. Randy, nothing. He wanted nothing to do with it. It just affected him, so much. So that's where his gentleness, he wouldn't broadcast that and that sort of thing, but he definitely felt it.
It was 1997 that I started working at Rivet Oil Company, and Randy oversaw the bobtail division. I was the assistant controller at the time, and over time I worked my way up as controller and then general manager for a bit. Then we became partners in North Bay Petroleum, and I was the CFO over there. And so I was always kind of on the money side of things, and Randy was always on the operations side. He had a real interesting relationship with his customers. If you went on a customer call with him, when he and his customer would engage, the first 30 seconds to a minute was insults back and forth. They're insulting each other and things I'd never even heard of before. And then I'd move on, they start talking about how are your kids, how's the family, and next thing you know, they were actually talking about business. But he always would always have a nice back and forth with his customers before he got down to business. When you think about Randy Parker, he grew up in the field business. His dad was a jobber. At 16, he was part of the business. He was driving a bobtail truck. And so he was delivering, to customers who, by the time towards the end of his career, he was delivering to like the grandchildren from that customer when he was a young bobtail driver. So it was a generational thing. He knew all the farmers. If you ever drove through the West County with Randy Parker, he'd say, that's such and such ranch, and here's such and such ranch, and it used to be owned by so and so, but now the grandson's running it. And everything on the West County, he knew everybody out there.
Randy Parker and Jim Dalton, they worked for different companies, but they were good competitors, and they liked to harass each other, which was very fun. Once our companies came together, it was fun to watch the customers' faces look at Randy and then look at me and go, what's going on? Oh, now we're working together. And they were like, oh no, God help us. But it was very fun. And I'm glad that I got to spend 9 years with him, working for him. He taught me that face-to-face, eye-to-eye with a customer meant way more than a text message or a phone call or an email. And it really, really meant a lot to see that in action and go out to customers together.
He gave his all to anything he got involved in, whether it was water skiing, whether it was a 2030 project in the community, whether it was just having fun. He was enthusiastically charismatic, I would say. He's the kind of person that drew other people to him. You couldn't, I can't say enough good stuff about him. I met him when I was a guest speaker at the 2030 Club. And from that date forward, we became friends, and our friendship grew over the years as time went on. We've houseboated together. We've done 2030 conventions together. And in fact, as a judge, I married him and Carol when they got married, buried him in their house that he'd built. He was one of those people that when, his customers were loyal to him more so than the company, I think, because he was so charismatic and so likable.
He did for his customers, I think he was more of an advocate for his customers than he was for the company that he worked for. And I don't mean that negatively, because Randy took care of the company, but his customers knew that he was going to do everything he could to do what he could to help them.
He had a tag that he had mounted on his wall, a fuel tag, from that he sold fuel. The price on it was like 28 cents, just a handwritten tag, from way back in the day. The year was like 1970, whatever the hell. And all kinds of different memorabilia, old memorabilia from the gas business, the old pumps that they used to use back in like the 20s and 30s. A lot of great relics. He serviced all the members of the ECA. I mean, they were all his customers. And so he had relationships with everybody. He supported the industry for so many years. I think it's terrific.
His personality was such that when he came back, he was so excited. Those times when he goes to people, maybe these are people he delivered to when his dad was alive and he had his business, and when and he'd come back and then he would tell you all about it. Those are the moments that were great. Or if he was talking about his family, the eyes. When you're looking somebody in the eyes, they just light up. You could see the energy. It was on his sleeve. He wore it on his sleeve.
I loved him dearly as a friend, and I felt the love coming back. I really miss him. I wish he was still with us. I think, I don't want to.
Just to think with this award, how amazing it would have been if he could have been receiving it himself, because that's just, yeah.
No, he was, again, such a unique guy, and everybody loved him.